Okay. Amanya, Wapanya, Hapadam, rise and face the east. Calling up the 12 tribes. Tribes to the east. Yo, what's up?
Yo, what's up?
Banyanya.
Banyanya.
Dan.
Dan.
Shema.
Shema.
Yasharala.
Yasharala.
Yahweh. Allahaynawa. Yahweh. Song, turn. Drive to the south. Shamaiwan.
Shamaiwan.
Yashakar.
Yashakar.
Zabalawan.
Zabalawan.
Yasharala.
Yashala.
Yahweh. Allahaynawa. Yahweh. Song, turn. Drive to the west. Gad.
Gad.
Ashar.
Ashar.
Naphtali.
Naphtali.
Shema. Yasharala.
Yashala.
Yahweh. Allahaynawa. Yahweh. Song, turn. Drive to the north. Robo. Yahweh. Loya. Shema. Yasharala.
Yasharala.
Yahweh. Allahaynawa. Yahweh. Seventh day blessing. Psalm, turn. Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that gives us the Sabbath and peace. Barak to Yahweh. Bahashem. Hamashiach. Yahweh Shai. Hawa'ah. Watananawa. Shabbat. Shalom. Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that gives us the law. Barak to Yahweh. Bahashem. Hamashiach. Yahweh Shai. Hawa'ah. Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that gives us the right to see. Barak to Yahweh. Bahashem. Hamashiach. Yahweh Shai. Hawa'ah. Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that gives us the ram's horn to call the people. Barak to Yahweh. Bahashem. Hamashiach. Yahweh Shai. Hawa'ah. Watananawa. Hayo. Haran. Lakwa'ah. Ha'ayim. Blessed be Yahweh in the name of the anointed Yahweh Shai that gives us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Barak to Yahweh. Bahashem. Hamashiach. Yahweh Shai. Hawa'ah. Watananawa. Hasheman. Zayah. Lamashach. Yasharela. Psalm 19.
Book of Psalms, chapter 92, verse 1. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Most High, and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy loving kindness in the morning, in thy faithfulness every night. Upon an instrument of 10 strings, and upon the psaltery, upon the harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Yahweh, hast made me glad through thy works. I will triumph. I will triumph in the works of thy hands, O Most High. How great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doeth a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Most High, art Most High forevermore. For lo thine enemies, O Most High, for lo thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shalt thou exalt like the horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see my desire on mine enemies. And mine ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Most High shall flourish in the courts of our power. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing to show that the Most High is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. By Hashem Mashak Yahushai, the water them yard. Amen.
Amen.
The Ten Commandments on the law of the Kadash. La'ah. Lahaya. Laka. Alahaya. Akori. Apanya. Laha. Taisha. Laka. Pasa. Laha. Taraipadon. Laha. Talakoko. Sham. Yahweh. Tashwa. Zakah. Ayawam. Tashabah. Lakodashwa. Kabah. Abaka. Wa Amaka. La'ah. Turatazah. La'ah. Tana'ah. La'ah. Tadanab. La'ah. Taino. Shakur. La'ah. Makamat. Kal. Asra. Lara'ai. Lahashim. Hamashiach. Yahushai. The water. The Yad. Aman. Psalms 21.
I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Most High is thy keeper. The Most High is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Most High shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Most High shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. By Hashem Mashak Yahushai, the water to Miyad. Amen.
Amen.
The Lord's Prayer. The Lord of Kadash. Abanawa. Shema Shemai. Kadash. Ayah. Shemka. Yahweh. Malafaka. Taba'ah. Ratazak. Ayah. Aisha. Yaharatuza. Kawa. Ayah. Bashemai. Watananaw. Watsum. Kayawam. Wasalaknaw. Kadarathinaw. Kasalaknaw. Kadarathinaw. Wala'ah. Tadananaw. Wanasayawan. Abo. Awashaynaw. Mayan. Rad. Kaya. Laka. Amalakwa. Waha'ala. Wataiparah. Waibalami. Bahashim. Hamashiach. Yahushai. The water. The Yad. Amen.
Matthew chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. For if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. By Hashem Mashak Yahushai, the water to Miyad. Amen.
Amen.
Psalm 133 and the last one, Kodash. Shayar, Ma'awa, Rabawa, Hanan, Ma, Tawab, Wama, Nayam, Shabbat, Akim, Gum, Yakad, Kashaman, Hatawab, Ayah, Araash, Sharad, Ayah, Zakwan, Aharan, Shayarad, Ayah, Payah, Mawatwa, Qatar, Ramwan, Shayarad, Ayah, Ariyah, Tazawan, Kaya, Sham, Tazwa, Yahweh, Abakar, Kayam, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahushai, the water, Yad, Amen. Psalm 150. Oh, good.
Psalm 133. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Most High commanded the blessing, even life forevermore. By Hashem Mashiach Yahushai, the water to God. Amen.
Amen. Psalm 150, the praise.
Praise ye the Most High.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Most High in his sanctuary.
Hallelujah.
Praise him in the former of his power.
Hallelujah.
Praise him for his mighty acts.
Hallelujah.
Praise him according to his excellent greatness.
Hallelujah.
Praise him with the sound of the trumpet.
Hallelujah.
Praise him with the psaltery and harp.
Hallelujah.
Praise him with the timbrel and dance.
Hallelujah.
Praise him with the string instruments and organs.
Hallelujah.
Praise him upon the loud cymbals.
Hallelujah.
Praise him upon the high sounding cymbals.
Hallelujah.
Let everything that have breath praise ye Yahweh.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Praise ye Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Yahushai, the water to Miyad. Amen.
Amen. Let everything that have breath praise Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Let everything that have breath praise your heart.
Hallelujah.
All praises be to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, for much later forever. Throughout your heart for the Shabbat service, keeping us in peace. Continue to watch over all Israel scattered throughout the four corners of the earth on the Shabbat day. Throughout your heart for giving us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of who we are as a nation of people. By Hashem, Mashiach Yahushua, the word of the Yard, Amen. It shall be, and may be seated. Shabbat Shalom. All praise be to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Let's make sure to do it forever. We're doing the pre-Shabbat service.
During this pre-Shabbat service, we're gonna go highlight some of the importance of the Sabbath, because we call ourselves Hebrew Israelites, but the Sabbath day, the first feast day that the Most High God give us, is the most important. It should be the most important to us because this is a covenant between us and the Most High God. In the law, the Most High God said the Sabbath day is a sign between Him and the Israelites. Right. Clear. Not with the other nations, not with Esau, but the Israelites. So we should always esteem this day very high when we at work, when we're doing the things on our day to day, because this day comes and goes quick. It's 6 days, and that 7th day come, we enjoy it, and then back to the plantation.
Right.
Just imagine, like if the Most High God said, "All right, I want 3 days out of the week, and you can have the rest," we'll be finished.
Right.
Because in this captivity, you got to work 40 plus hours to make that rent.
That's right.
We'll be finished. But the Most High God only requested 1 day. That's it. He gave us 7. He only requested 1, so we should honor that. Get me the book of Colossians chapter 3, verse 17.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3, and verse 17. And whatsoever we do in word or deed, but do all in the name of the Mighty One, Hamashiach Yahushua, give thanks to Yahweh and Abba by him.
Sometimes in a lot of these jobs, they pay you more if you work on a Sabbath day, right? When you go into that interview, you say, I'm an Israelite, I'm a Jew. I keep the Torah, I obey the law, statutes, and commandments. What did it tell you? Well, at this job, you gotta work Saturdays. How does that sound? They don't go to the so-called white man and say that. The Jew, they call themselves the Jew. They say, okay, well, we'll make arrangements so you don't work on the Sabbath day.
Right. But exhorting one another.
But of what?
But exhorting one another.
Telling your brother, sending that pre-Shabbat text to your brother, your sister, and saying, well, this day is coming, we gotta prepare ourselves. Read.
And so much the more.
And what?
And so much the more.
And so much the more what?
As you see the day approaching.
As you see the day approaching. Meaning in these last days, when you see all these different events happening in the news, in the media, in the world, we see the judgment of the Most High God in the approaching day of the Mashiach Yahushua. We have to cling to the commandments. We have to cling to his feast days. Keep going.
For if we sin willfully.
For if we what?
Sin willfully.
Now, Paul said that in verse 25. In verse 26, he says, for if we sin willfully. Meaning, if I know it's a Sabbath day coming at sunset at 8 o'clock, and I say, well, I'm hungry right now. Let me go to that Jamaican store. Let me get a beef patty. Let me get a beef patty. Let me get some oxtail. Let me get it hot. You sin willfully. If you know the Sabbath day is coming and you're gonna travel a long distance, you have to be at the Shabbat service. You have to be there, and you just choose. Well, I was working real hard the day before, so I'll take the day off. You in sin. Keep going.
That we have received the knowledge of truth.
The knowledge of truth, law, statutes, and commandments. Read.
There remaineth no more sacrifice for sins.
There's no sacrifice for sin, for defiling the Sabbath day or defiling any of the Most High God's holy days. Get me the book of Luke 4 and 14. I love going to this scripture, man. The reason why I love it is because a lot of our people think on this day, Yahushua, Mashiach Yahushua, so-called Jesus Christ, he was doing what he wanted to do. When he was teaching, when he was going about the cities in Judea, it wasn't random. He would often enter into the synagogues. The apostles would often enter in the chief place of gathering. While they were after the Sabbath service was done, then plead their cause to our people to believe in the Messiah. Read.
The book of Luke, chapter 4 and verse 14. And Yahushua returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee.
Where?
Into Galilee.
In the land of Israel, read.
And there went out a fame of him through all the region round about.
So in all the region, they knew about the Mashiach Yahushua. For his works, for the miracles, for the wisdom. The Spirit of Most High God was upon him, read.
And he taught in their synagogues.
He taught where?
In their synagogues.
What's he doing in the synagogue?
In their synagogues, being glorified of all.
So he taught in these different synagogues. So what would be an opportune moment? Because you gotta think like this. Back during this first century, there was no vehicles, there was no cars. You had to have bread to own a horse. To own and keep these animals of movement, you had to have money. Our people lived there was major cities in the land of Israel, but there was sometimes there was like small towns. Right. So the best time of the opportune moment to teach the Bible would be what? On the Shabbat, because our people had to come together. Read.
And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was.
As his what?
His custom was.
Meaning this was his way of life. Ever since he was a child, he would go in and enter into the Shabbat day and do what?
He went up into the synagogue on the Sabbath day.
So, as followers of the Mashiach Yahushua, we should follow this example. So keeping the Sabbath day means what? Coming together. Keeping the Sabbath day means making that effort, making that sacrifice to be in attendance for the Shabbat service. Keep going.
And stood up to read.
And stood up to read. To bring out the word of the Most High God. Read.
And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, he found a place where it is written, the Spirit of the Lord is upon thee.
Stop right there. So when you see us going into these different books, we in the book of Luke, we in the book of Isaiah, we in the law. And you're like, Did the ancient Israelites do that? Yes, we did. Because the Israelites, our ancestors, we would rehearse the law. Every Shabbat, we would rehearse the law. And on top of rehearsing the law, we would go into the prophets. We would observe what's going around in our day, and during that time, in the politics, with other nations, and say, well, this is a prophecy coming to pass. Read. Oh, actually, get me the book of Acts 15:21. Move that.
The book of Acts, chapter 15, and verse 21.
Before you read it, get me to read 19.
Verse 19. Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned to the Most High.
Our people in the Gentile sakes, because Acts 15 is speaking about our people that's coming out of that Gentile world, that's in the diaspora, that's coming back to their heritage. Read.
But that we write unto them that they abstain from pollution of idols,
Keep going.
and from fornication,
Keep going.
and from things strangled, and from blood.
So they had a council. They're speaking about our people that's coming out of the Gentile mindset, and they said, well, write them all of these things which are in the law of Moses. All of these things that were listed, right? These 4 things are against the law of Moses. Keep going.
For Moses of old time,
Of what? For who?
for Moses of old time, have in every city,
In some cities.
in every city,
Read.
them that preach him.
When it says preach him, it's not talking about Moses and his style of dress, his dress code. No. It's talking about the law of Moses. So in every little city, just like you see camps in every little city today, it's nothing new.
Right.
If you can't make it to the Shabbat service in Miami, there's a Shabbat service in Fort Lauderdale. If you can't make it to the Shabbat service in Fort Lauderdale, there's a Shabbat service in Fort St. Lucie. If you can't make it, if you live in another state, if you live in Georgia, you live in New York, the Most High God has these brothers, the Most High God has his people there, and you can make that Shabbat service. You can make it happen. And if there's nobody around you, you can always come together and rehearse the Most High God's commandments. Keep going.
Being read in the synagogues every Sabbath day.
Every what?
Every Sabbath day.
So you can say today that what we're doing today on the Shabbat day is in agreement with the word of the Most High God. Read.
Then pleased it the apostles and elders with the whole church to send chosen men of their own company to Antioch with Paul and Barnabas.
To relay this message, get me the book of Isaiah 58 and 13.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 58 and verse 13. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy
Doing
day,
that what?
thy pleasure on my holy day,
Because sometimes you're tempted. But the Most High God put his commandments out there, we have to obey. But Satan's gonna creep in your ears and say, well, you can make that spaghetti that's busting. You can hop on that grill. Those stops pop in.
Right.
When you can't do something like that, those stops just pop in. So, well, yeah, that pair of shoes, that pair of sandals, that Gucci slides, it's on sale, 50% off, right on the Sabbath day. It was $1,000, it's $200 only today. Satan will test you like that. 1 Peter 1:13. Come. Get it. 1:13. We'll go back.
the book of 1 Peter, chapter 1 and verse 13. Yea, I think.
1 Peter 1 and 13.
Oh, stop. I got it. 1 Peter 1 to 13. Wherefore, gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you and the revelation of Yahweh.
That's a preset cap?
Yeah.
You got to gird up your mind.
Come on, you got to protect your mind because these thoughts pop in.
Right.
These things happen. The things you can't do on the Sabbath day, your manager will give you that text. If you come in tomorrow, I pay you double. You be like, damn.
I know.
Yeah. It happened to me. My manager was like, Lance, that's my slave name. Kazi one. If you come in on Saturday, you ain't gonna be making $100. You're gonna make $200. Wow. What the work I want you to do? I said, damn. Why you gotta ask me this on the Shabbat? The Lord said, man, I see you on Monday.
Right.
It's like you gotta rebuke Satan quick, man. You can't think twice. Go back.
The book of Isaiah 58 and verse 13. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath from doing thy pleasure on my holy day,
on the Most High's holy day, read.
And call the Sabbath a delight.
Because the Sabbath is a delight. Why is it a delight? Because the Sabbath day is a day, one day out of the week, we can actually rest. Right. We can embrace our heritage. We can uphold our heritage. We can be around like-minded people. Right. Because it keeps to the point. We gather together. Because during the other 6 days of the week, we gotta be around wicked Jake. You gotta be around wicked Jake, Esau, the heathens, having their uncircumcised conversations, and you must be in the midst of them to work and function. But on the Sabbath day, you could say you're around the people that are like-minded. Right. Read.
The holy of the Most High, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own ways,
read.
Nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words.
Nor speaking what?
Thine own words.
Meaning, the way you should be speaking, like you would usually speak on the other days of the week, should be different from how you should be speaking on a Sabbath day. Meaning, if on Monday you were speaking about sports, basketball, the game, or whatever's going on at the plantation, leave it over there. Right. It should be a different type of conversation on the Shabbat day. Keep going.
Then shalt thou delight thyself in the Most High, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father.
And he said he's going to feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father. Give us the protection, the name, and the blessing that comes with that name. All right. Come on, get me the book of Nehemiah 10:31. Let's look at some of the examples of our forefathers during the Sabbath day. What were they doing? Some of the things that were occurring on the Sabbath day.
The book of Nehemiah, chapter 10 and verse 31. Say, Con, when you got it. Okay. Got it. All right. And if the people of the land bring ware or any victuals on the Sabbath day to sell, that we will not buy it of them on the Sabbath or on the holy day, and that we will leave the seventh year the exaction of every debt.
Come on, that's the people of the land, the other nations, right? Trying to sell something to you, trying to get you to defile the Sabbath day, because these heathens, they promote wickedness. They use our people to promote wickedness to keep us in a level of sin for a purpose. Why? Because if we stay in sin, we stay low. We stay in these conditions. This kingdom goes up. The more wickedness our people is caught up in, the higher this kingdom goes. Right. These nations prosper off of our people's sin. Because in each of the neighborhoods, for example, who you find? The Ishmaelites and the East Indians. And our people what? Going in there, buying what? Cigarettes. Getting, what else?
Hot sausage.
Hot sausage. Pork.
Yeah.
Pickled egg. You know, that pickled egg, man.
Right.
They get that thing with, unhealthy food in general, but these heathens, they profit off of our people's weakness, right? Our people's ignorance. Come on that, just skip to chapter 13, verse 15. It's no new thing.
Okay. The book of Nehemiah, chapter 13 and verse 15. In those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves and ladding donkeys.
So Nehemiah sees some Judites going on. They're working double time. They said the Sabbath, man, I gotta get this working. Right. Like our people say that. On the day to day, you say you're an Israelite, And then they say, yeah, I'm an Israelite, I know I'm a Jew. And then you say the Sabbath day, come to the Sabbath service. Man, I got to work. I got to get that money. Read.
As also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals.
And Nehemiah saw this, and he rebuked them. Read.
There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah and in Jerusalem.
Verse 16. So why are these men, they see, the Israelites, we already going off,
Right.
working on the Sabbath day. Now you see these heathens coming into Jerusalem, offering us, tell our people some what? Some victuals.
Right.
Why are they promoting our people's wickedness? You don't see the heathen right here coming with the law of the Lord saying, you the Israelites, you the chosen people of the Lord. They're promoting our people's wickedness. Why? Keep going.
Then I contended with the nobles of Judah, and said unto them, what evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers thus, and did not our power bring all this evil upon us?
Meaning Nehemiah is reminding them that all the judgments and plagues that our people live through today is a result of what? Breaking God's commandments. Something that some of our people see as simple, as a light thing, the Sabbath day, breaking it brings forth judgment, not on ourselves per se as individuals. It brings forth judgment on our entire nation.
Right.
Why? Because when we was in the wilderness, it wasn't no individuals. We made a covenant as a people to keep God's commandments. So therefore, as a people, we must keep God's commandments. If not, as a people, we're going to suffer. Read.
And upon this city, yet you bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath.
Keep going.
And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath.
So as the night falls, it's starting to get dark, that transition from one day ends and another one begins. He said, shut the day. Shut the gates of Jerusalem off on a Shabbat day. Read.
And some of my servants set I at the gates that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day. So the merchants and sellers of all kind of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice.
So you got these wicked heathens, they waiting outside the gates of Jerusalem saying, we're gonna sell this.
Right.
We gotta get this merchandise out there. And they're gonna buy it. Read.
Then I testified against them and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall? If you do so again, I will lay hands on you.
Nehemiah said it straight away. If you come back, I'm gonna put my hands on you, man. And what happened? Read.
From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath.
They were gone.
Right.
That's it, man. Put my hands on them, man. Give me Jude 5:20. I said something very interesting because the heathens right here, they're helping our people stay in sin. They're not helping them to come out of iniquity, just like you see today. Okay? Just like you see today, you see these heathens, they got the Bible, and they're reading the scriptures, but what are they teaching? The white man's Christianity. You see the Asian man with the Bible teaching that the same doctrine, the so-called white man taught across the earth. The same doctrine, you don't have to keep the laws of the Most High God. Right. Nothing new. So don't expect no type of salvation. Don't expect the heathen to rebuke you. Don't be that guy to say, oh yeah, I taught my Chinese friend at work that I'm an Israelite, and that the other Israelites, the other so-called black and Hispanic Israelites as well. He's gonna say, oh yeah, really interesting. And then he's gonna ask you, well, you want to share half of this pork sandwich with me? Just to test you, see what you're about. These heathens about that. Read.
3:5
and 20.
Okay. The book of Jude, in the Red Apocrypha, page 46, chapter 5 and verse 20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God.
Stop right there. At this moment in time, the heathen army entered our land of Israel, and he brought an Ammonite. And he brought this Ammonite to the general to get some information on the nation of Israel. What type of nation it is, what customs do they have, so they can conquer it. As we know, as we went through the Torah, the land of Ammon is right next to Israel. So the Ammonites, they aware of our customs, our language, and our habits and behaviors. Read.
Let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
If they do, read it from the top again.
Now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error in this people,
if there be any error, meaning if our people break God's commandments, because in Nehemiah said, "Men of Tyre." Where's Tyre? Anybody can answer. Where's Tyre? It's north, in the opposite direction. Tyre is like at the end of our border. So by chance, men from Tyre is gonna sell to our people on the Shabbat day. What they trying to do? Because during the book of Nehemiah, our people just came back from slavery from Babylon. We just came back to retake our inheritance. Now these heathens come to make our people stay in sin. Why?
Right.
Read.
Now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their power, and they sin against their power,
and they sin against their what?
Their power.
Read.
Let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
It's their ruin. The heathens know from day one, man. When our people when we break God's commandments, we done.
Right.
The Most High God don't got our back. They can come in and do whatever they want with us. That's why you see in this society, who is the most abused people?
Mm-hmm.
So-called black people and Hispanic people. Our people, the Lord's people. That's what the men of Tyre were trying to do. Get our people to buy on the Shabbat day, defile it, so our people could be in a low state and go right back in slavery.
Mm-hmm.
So these heathens can take advantage of us.
Right.
They love to do this. Read.
And let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
See? He knows that. He got the breakdown. Read.
But if there be no iniquity in their nation,
if there's no iniquity, our people walking with the Most High God, we keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. We are making that effort. Read.
Let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power be for them.
That's why we be teaching in the streets. The heathens, they just be looking at us, and they keep it pushing. You feel me? They look at us. You think that some of these people, they don't know about Hebrew Israelites? They know about Hebrew Israelites. They don't say anything, but they may understand that we are the Israelites because it's very evident in the scriptures.
The perfect example was that the mother, the lady, the Israelite.
Yeah. The lady. She says she know about the Israelites. It's not a hidden knowledge. A lot of these heathens have already known that we are the Israelites. Many so-called white men have written books, like for example, the book called the Jude the Negro. A so-called white man wrote that in 1919, when our people were still enslaved, because they understand that the Negro is a Jew.
Right.
It's a synonym. Read.
And we become a reproach before all the world.
They'll become a reproach if they come against us when we're keeping God's commandments. That's it on there?
Yeah.
Come on. Get me the book of Matthew 12 and 1. This observes an event that happened while the Mashiach Yahweh was teaching on the Sabbath day.
The book of Matthew, chapter 12, and verse 1. At that time, Yahushua went on the Sabbath day.
On what day?
On the Sabbath day.
So the Mashiach Yahweh is on the Sabbath day. Read.
To the corn. And his disciples were in hunger, and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat.
So the disciples, they're hungry, they see some corn and let me get some of that.
Right.
As they're moving, as they're teaching, as they're bringing out the word of the Most High God. Read.
But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day.
Now the Pharisees were the teachers of the law. They understood the law. They would always try Yahweh Shai. You know, when you have a friend who you're trying to try his intelligence to see what he knows, to see if he really understands the law. The Pharisees, don't get it wrong, they understood the law. They're trying to test if Yahweh Shai understands the law. In the message of the Most High God. Read.
Verse 3. But he said unto them, Have ye not read what David did when he was in hunger, and they that were with him? How he entered into the house of the Most High, and did eat the shewbread, which was not lawful for him to eat.
And Yahweh rebuked him because David was on the run for his life. David spent many years running away from him. And Saul was trying to kill him. Saul is the king of the Israelites, right? The entire nation is under whose hand? Saul. Saul's hand. So what happened during the time of David was something over life or death. Because he may have not known when was the next time he was going to eat. So that's how the Most High showed that grace and mercy. So you can eat the shoulder. Read.
Neither for them which were with him, but only for the priests.
It's lawful to what? Put on the Sabbath day. Read.
Or have ye not read in the law how that on the Sabbath day the priests in the temple profaned the Sabbath?
That's a big one. The priests, the priests bring out the law. They teach. They're the ones that during this time they teach. They're teaching the word of the Most High God to our nation, right? So my question, a general question: How is it the priests supposedly bring the Sabbath day? Anybody, it's free fall. Anybody?
We're going to be in the wilderness for another 80 years.
80 years, man. I'm gonna be in the wilderness. I'm gonna be down 99. 99. Oh, it's more to that. What do the priests do? What are some of the explain some of the offices of the priests?
Well, they are the one that set up their service.
What's next?
You have the one that do sacrifice and stuff like that.
Sacrifice. That's the most important part.
Mm-hmm.
That the tribe of Levi was set apart what? To be the priest, to cover the sacrifices between the Israelites and the Most High God. That is the most important part. And these sacrifices from Monday to Sunday, 7 days a week. We don't get that day of rest. We have to continually bring these sacrifices for our people, for various concerns. That is a good answer. Because let me ask you something on top of that. A free will offering of a goat, for example. After it's sacrificed, of course, what do you have to do? You have to eat it, man. Then what can we not do on the Sabbath day? Cook. You can't cook, man. You can't get that. You can't get that rice and beans and oxtail. Get it all hot. No. But the priests in the temple of the Lord, they got the bread. They got the showbread, right? They got the sacrifices. They eat hot food. Everybody else in the nation eat their food cold.
Oh man.
You understand what the Yahweh got them? But the priests are not defiling the Shabbat day because the Most High God commanded this. Right. Get me the book of Numbers 28 and 9.
Mm-hmm. The book of Numbers, chapter 28 and verse 9.
Read.
And on the Sabbath day, 2 lambs of the first year.
2 what?
2 lambs of the first year without spot. And 2 tenth ears of flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, and the drink offering thereof. This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath.
Of what?
Every Sabbath.
What?
Every Sabbath.
Every Sabbath, man. You got a good meal going. See? But you see, they're not defiling the Most High God's Sabbath. Now let's go back to what was that Matthew 12.
Book of Matthew chapter 12 and verse 5. Or have ye not read in the law how that on the Sabbath days the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless? But I say unto you that in this place is one greater than the temple. But if ye had known what this meaneth, I will have mercy. And that sacrifice, ye would not have condemned the guiltless.
He said you would not have condemned the guiltless. Because what they were doing was not in transgression of the law. What the priests were doing were not in transgression of the law. Read.
For the Son of Man is a Lord even of the Sabbath day.
Keep going.
And when he was departed thence, he went into their synagogue. And behold, there was a man which had his hand withered. And they asked him, saying, Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath days?
That's a wicked spirit, man. The brother has his hand withered. He can't hold a pen correct.
Scare him.
Like a scary movie, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so they're asking him a question. Is it lawful to heal this man on the Sabbath day? Meaning, for example, if a brother got shot right here, and then is it lawful to call the paramedics? Because the paramedics have to come, pick up the brother, then bring him to what? The doctors to save his life. They're trying to test him, but that's a very wicked question, really.
Right.
That they might accuse him?
That they might what?
Accuse him?
Because the Pharisees understood, yes, you can heal a man on the Sabbath day. That's why it says that they might what? Accuse him. Keep going.
And he said unto them, what man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep, and if it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, will he not lay hold on it and lift it out?
Yeah, I wish I was giving them a parable. He's not just speaking of a cattle. He said if something happens to your brother, if something happens to somebody of your own nation, you're driving on your way to the Shabbat service, you see somebody tire go out,
Right.
they finish out there. And it's like 99. You know, it gets hot out here. You're really not going to help your people.
Right.
You see this man on Shabbat every week, you're really not going to go out your way to help him. I'm not going to lie. If that happened to me, man, I see you every week. My car breaks down. I was out there in 99-degree weather. You saw me and I met you at the Shabbat service.
That's crazy.
I'd have to repent for something on the Day of Atonement. That's all. That's not within the spirit of the Most High God.
Right. Yeah.
That's not within the spirit of the Lord. If you see a brother out there, go and help him because you are not defiling the Shabbat day. If a brother broke his arm, he's like, damn, I gotta go to the doctor. No, you're not breaking the Sabbath day. Go help your brother.
Right.
Because helping your people is lawful and correct. Right? You see us out there, on Shabbat day, we out there teaching, right? Amongst the madness. We're not in the madness, we're teaching against the madness. We're teaching our people to come out. We're on a Sabbath day. We gotta make movement, right? Sorry, keep going.
Verse 12. How much then is a man better than a sheep? Wherefore, it is lawful to do well on the Sabbath days.
It's lawful to do well. Read.
Then saith he to the man, stretch forth thine hand. And he stretched it forth, and it was restored whole like as the other.
And the Mashiach Yahushua healed the brother, man. I'm happy too. He's happy, I'll be happy. On the Shabbat day, I got a Shabbat blessing like that, I'll be happy. I'll get that big part with joy.
Right.
Come on. You have a precept, Sharon?
Nice.
Come on. You give me Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, because it's 102.
Okay.
And you close out with that.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yah and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
This is the whole purpose of what we This is the whole purpose of what we do, because it's the whole purpose of Most High created us to serve him and keep his commandments. Shalom.
I'm one lawyer, but y'all shall.
I'm one lawyer, but the Bunya Sharala.
Y'all about Shimon Shabbat.
Yeah, what you said, look at that.
Bon Yashabala. Y'all about Shimon Shabbat.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All praise be to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Surely his mercy endures forever. Let's give a round of applause for the captain for the powerful Shabbat. Let's pre-Shabbat lesson. You know, because a lot of times we go over these lessons because it's supposed to be a reminder to us. Because sometimes we forget. There's a reason why from the beginning to the end, the Most High is telling us the same things over and over again. How many times did he say he's going to save us out of this captivity? A plethora of times in the scriptures. How many times does he tell us, if you love me, keep the commandments? How many times is he telling us to keep the Sabbath day? How many times is he telling us to repent? Showing that we tend to forget. This is why we have to continue going over things like the Sabbath day. We got to go over how to love, how to deal with your neighbor, how to forgive, right? We have to go over these various topics over and over again because we tend to forget. The Most High don't forget, but we tend to forget. So classes like this is very necessary for the development of our people. Let's get Colossians 3:17. I believe the portion today is Numbers 18.
19:1
to 22:1. Numbers 19:1 to chapter 22:1 is the portion for today. Get Colossians 3:17 again before we go right into it. So, while we get to Colossians 3:17, you know, what went down last portion? What are some of the events that happened last portion? We're discussing a lot of different things, right? What are some of the things we discussed? I know the Levites want to go first. Don't make us look bad. But what did we discuss last week? What are some of the things that we discussed? We in trouble. So some of the things that we discussed, if you were watching the Shabbat service last week, is how does the Most High choose leaders? That's one of the things I know I just stressed. How does he choose leaders? Does he do it because they're tall, strong? What are some of the qualities they have to have? This is a question for the open room. What are some of the qualities a chosen leader of the Most High have to have? Fearless, obedient. What else? Pool table. What's some of the qualities? That's like the pool table right there. Right. That's the cool kid that be beating on the table in school. So what are some of the qualities a leader of the Most High have to have? Can they steal? Can they go to the strip club after the Shabbat? What are some of the qualities? Sisters, what are some of the qualities? I think y'all might have to go first before the men of the Most High go. Confidence and meekness. Now, one of the things that we were stressing last week was what was special about Moses during this time. He was meek. He was humble. Because if you're meek and you're humble, you're gonna be subject to be able to take instruction, get understanding. The Most High can use you. If you're prideful, can the Most High use you? No, because you're gonna do what you want to do. How you feel like you should do it. The Most High can't use you. So go ahead and read Colossians 3:17.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Adonai Yahweh Shai, giving thanks to the Elohim and the Abba by him.
Because this scripture is plain and simple. What would Yahweh Shai do? If you know Yahweh Shai didn't do it, you can't do it. Right. If you know he didn't preach that, you can't preach it. If you know he wasn't stealing in the aisle for Publix, you can't steal the aisle for Publix. You can't do these things. You have to follow and walk after that perfect example the Most High gave us, the ultimate example that ever walked upon the face of the earth, man. Because like the captain said, this Shabbat is to help our people gather together and go over the laws of the Most High God. A lot of times we think that we're the only ones that can gather together. The wicked gather together too. They gather. When they're in front of the corner store and they're fighting, they're gathering. Right. They have unity in wickedness. When they're rolling dice against the Arabs or trash can in the parking lot, that's unity right there. But that's not the unity the Most High desires from us. Right. There's only one way we're gonna have the unity that He desires from us. Let's get that. Isaiah 54:15.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 54 and verse 15.
Read.
Behold, they shall surely gather together.
They should what?
They shall surely gather together.
Right. Unity. Read.
But not by me.
So there's a way you could gather, but not in the way the Most High needs you to gather. Not according to His instruction, His guidelines in the scriptures. Because these brothers right there doing flips and backflips with no shirts on doing Sabbath day. Say Cunyo. Right now, they're unity right now in evil and wickedness. But we're gathering together in righteousness. Right? We're gathering the way the Most High tells us to do it. Those brothers over there in the basketball court, they're missing shots in unity against the Most High's will. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a way to gather, but it's not according to the will of the Most High. The one thing we need as a people to help us gather together is that we got to make sure we're moving the same way. We're speaking the same thing. We have the same mentality. We're governed by the same moral compass. Let's get 1 Corinthians 1:10. 1 Corinthians 1:10. The only way our people together is we speaking the same thing, we serving the same God. You cannot be a Christian. We can't have a room full of Christians and Muslims and atheists and agnostic and scientists and all this madness, and one room think we're going to be in one accord. We're not going to be in one accord. If that was the case, you'll see our people in the White House. We were the ones running this country. But our people is not unified because we're not speaking the same thing. Go ahead and read that.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Adawan, Hamashiach Yahushua, that ye all speak the same thing.
That we do what?
That ye all speak the same thing.
It's very important that we all speak the same thing. Right? You're not going to all speak the same words, literally. Yeah. But you all have the same unified understanding. The same unified laws. The same unified power. A lot of our people think there's many ways to serve the Most High. How many ways is it to serve the Most High? How many power is there? One. How many Savior there is? One. How many faith there is? One. Everything with the Most High is one. So why does our people think there's many ways to serve the Most High? There's many different streets to come into that one parking lot. There isn't with the Most High. There's only one way to go to him. Read that again and we're going to move on to the next scripture.
Verse 10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Adawan, Hamashiach Yahushua, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you.
No what?
No divisions.
Because if we're not speaking the same thing, we're not moving the same way, we're not governed by the same laws, there'll be divisions. There'll be schisms. The whole body is going to fight itself if we're not moving the same way. Let's get Matthew 7. Let's show you the problem. But even in ancient Israel, how many languages were we speaking? We spoke one language. Because language do what? It divides. Genesis 11 teaches that. The Most High didn't have to send Michael the Archangel to stop them in the Tower of Babel. He just confounded the languages. Matthew 7. I want you to start from, I want you to go straight to verse 13.
The book of Matthew, chapter 7, and verse 13.
You're the priest over the northern kingdom. You need to go and right now. You're looking at me. Yeah, that's you in charge over there. Go ahead and read.
Enter ye at the straight gate.
The Most High say, enter ye in the straight gate. Read.
For wide.
For what?
For wide.
Wide is the what?
Is the gate.
This wideness is these other doctrines and philosophies. These other religions. These other gods that make you think you're going to connect to the higher power. Read.
And broad is the way that leadeth to destruction.
To what?
Destruction.
It leads you to destruction. It leads you to the judgment from the Most High God. So we got to go through that narrow path. Continue reading.
And many there be which go in thereat.
So many people they want to serve the Most High. They want to serve Him. Many people say they want to serve the universe. They want to get an amethyst rock, an obsidian, an onyx stone, tap it on their forehead and think they're connecting with the aliens in Mars or something, right? But the Bible teaches us the obedience of the Most High. It teaches us how to get unified with the Most High. It teaches us how to have that supreme government we need upon the face of the earth, man. Let's get Ephesians 4. Ephesians 4 and 4. They're going to go into the portion. Ephesians 4 and 4. Because this is one of my favorite verses because they make me realize there's only one way to do something, man. It's either you're doing it right or you're doing it wrong. And the Most High tells us how to do it right all the time, every time. Teaches us that. We don't have to try to figure out our own home remedies. We already got the blueprint already. Right. We got the instruction. We got the keys already.
The book of Ephesians.
Everybody say, come when you're at Ephesians 4 and 4.
Ephesians 4, verse 4. There is one body.
There is one what?
One body.
Isn't there one people the Most High chose? One body He's dealing with? He's not dealing with the Edomites and Moabites. There's only one, read.
And one spirit.
One word, read.
Even as ye are called in one hope of your calling.
Read.
One out of one.
One who?
One out of one.
How many saviors is coming back to come save us? Only one. Read.
One faith. One baptism. One power. And Father of all.
Read.
Who is above all, and through all,
and in you all. So this is what we have to move. If we want to get that unity, we got to have the spirit. We have to have one God, one faith, one out of one this, one language, one moral compass, one dietary law, one civil law, one ceremonial law, one set of feast days or holy days. This is the only way our people are unified. And this Torah teaches us how to achieve that. That's why we got to go over it. It teaches us how to have that oneness. Just like 7 is completion, 8 is a new beginning, 1 is unity. It's one, unification. Let's get Numbers 19. Let's go right into it. This is something we see throughout, even in our families. How many people are supposed to be running the departments? There's the father, the mother, the children, right? Is the father and mother supposed to be equals? No, things are going to be thrown off. Is the children and the parents supposed to be equals? No, things are going to be thrown off, man. There's a specific order in how the Most High do things, man. And this is the order that we need. Let's get Numbers 19.
The book of Numbers, chapter 19, verse 1. And the Most High spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, This is the ordinance of the law which Yahweh hath commanded, saying,
Okay, that's the spirit. All right.
All right, the book of Numbers, chapter 19 and verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, This is the ordinance of the law,
right,
which Yahweh hath commanded, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring thee a red heifer without spot.
Right.
Therein is no blemish, and upon which never came yoke.
Right. So a heifer is a calf that has not had a child yet. All right. So it's not producing any milk or anything like this. So this is a young calf. Read.
And ye shall give her unto Eleazar, the priest, that he bring her forth without the camp. And one shall slay her before his face.
Read.
And Eleazar the priest shall take of her blood with his finger, and sprinkle of her blood directly before the tabernacle of the congregation 7 times.
Read.
And one shall burn the heifer in his sight. With her skin, her flesh, and her blood with her dung shall he burn.
So this was a little bit different from how the normal sacrifices are sent up. Still burnt on the altar, but its blood is being burnt with it instead of being drained out like how we would do with any other sacrifice. Read.
And one shall burn the heifer, and the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet and cast it into the midst of the burning of the heifer.
Right, so these 3 items, the hyssop, the cedar wood, and the scarlet, the same 3 items that was used when cleansing the leper, the Most High say, throw it in there, throw it in the fire with it so all of it can burn, because all of these things are going to become ash, and we're going to see why in a little bit. Read.
Then the priest shall wash his clothes, and he shall bathe his flesh in water.
Right.
And afterward he shall come into the camp, and the priest shall be unclean until the evening.
Read.
And he that burneth her shall wash his clothes in water, and bathe his flesh in water.
Right.
And shall be unclean until the even.
It shall be what?
Until the even.
So, if you see, there's 2 people there, right? It says the one, meaning it's another person, and then you have Eleazar the priest. So Eleazar is to do what? Is to take the heifer's blood, sprinkle it, right, before the tabernacle. But then the one is to actually burn the heifer. So then, as you see down, the priest Eleazar would go, he would bathe himself, wash his clothes, and then now it's for the person, the one who did the burning, to do the same. Read.
And a man that is clean should gather up the ashes of the heifer, and lay them up without the camp in a clean place.
Right.
And it should be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel, for a water of separation.
Right. So as both of them are waiting for the sun to go down to become clean, someone else would come, gather up the ashes, bring it to a clean place. Read.
It is a purification for sin.
And
he that gathers the ashes, you need to go communicate with your brother. The heifer shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the evening. And it shall be unto the children of Israel and unto the stranger that sojourneth among them, for a statute forever.
So now we're about to see what is it that we use this water of purification for? Let's see. Read.
He that toucheth the dead body of any man
Uh-huh.
shall be unclean 7 days.
Shall be what?
Unclean 7 days.
Captain tells you one. How many days are you unclean when you touch a dead carcass of an animal? You sure? 7 days? No. Till evening. 1 day.
I told you. The most time going to be that Levi has kindled his wrath. And we're going to be in the wilderness for 4 generations.
Right, that's right. Good job, sis. Y'all got it. 1 day, right? But when you're touching a dead body of a human dead body, you're unclean 7 days. Now let's see how we should go about purifying ourselves, right? Being unclean in these 7 days, read.
He shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day.
No, the 2nd day.
He shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day.
On the 3rd day, not the 4th day, not the 5th day, because in our minds we'll say what? As long as it's within the 7 days, that's how we would think. That's what our mind will say to us. But the Most High say the 3rd day. Read.
And on the 7th day, he should be clean.
He shall be what?
He should be clean.
Read.
But if he purify not himself the 3rd day,
right,
then the 7th day he should not be clean.
That's just negligence. You know you unclean. It's the 3rd day, but you know it's a sale going on. You know you got to wait in line for 4 hours. You trying to get the new shoe. You know you're unclean. You know you got to go and purify yourself, man. Just like you know when we have to circumcise our male children on the 8th day. You know people say, man, he's gonna be in pain. He's gonna be crying. They should just do it, you know, the same day or the day after. I said, listen, I just gotta listen to the tears, man. I just gotta listen to him cry. Cause guess what? When he get old, I'm gonna say, listen, I couldn't make my son sin, man. Right? Yahushua, we read Colossians 3:17. Yahushua had to get circumcised on the 8th day, right? So that's the same thing we gotta do. So we gotta understand when the Most High tell us something specific, it's not for us to then implement our own thing because of this or because of that. You don't think the Most High knows it's gonna hurt worse on the 8th day than the 1st? Still, he say what? Circumcised on the 8th day. Yes, technically you're still washing yourself, but the Most High said do it on the 3rd day because he's the Lord our God. That's it. Read.
Whosoever touches the dead body of any man that is dead and purify not himself, defileth the tabernacle of Yahweh.
Now, of course, yes, the tabernacle is up. But what is our tabernacle today? Our what? What did you say, sis? Our bodies. Let me get 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19. This is correct, man. All right, our bodies. The Most High expects us to what? You're supposed to examine yourself, man. Now, of course, you know, hopefully, you know, we're not coming in contact with dead bodies. But hey, listen, it was a lot of judgment being handed down. We was being real rebellious, man. It was nothing to wake up and you was just laughing with brother, you know, Tazawah. Next thing you know, you wake up, he dead in his tent. All right? Probably doing something foolish or crazy, man. There was a lot of rebelliousness going on in the wilderness. So the Most High said, listen, you come in contact with any tent or anything like that, this is the way this got to go. Read.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16.
No, it's chapter 6, verse 19.
I like it.
Go.
Chapter 6, verse 19.
Read.
What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit?
What did he say?
What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit?
Right.
Which is in you?
Which what?
Which is in you?
Just like when the Most High's glory used to fill the tabernacle, man. The Most High's glory is in you. Right? That's why when we commit sin, the Most High say, what? You know, like, why you always got to cast off your glory? Right? Why you got to turn your glory into shame? Because the Most High owns us, man. We rent in these bodies. If the Most High say he want to bring this body back up, put it back in the ground, that where he formed it from, he could do that easily, man. Real easy, read.
The Holy Spirit, which is in you, which ye have of Yahweh.
Which you have of who?
Of Yahweh.
Of Yahweh, read.
And you are not your own.
You are not your own. You don't belong to yourself. When you start to go and make decisions and you say, it's because I want to do it, the Most High looking like, you don't own your body, man. Right? I own those 10 fingers, them 10 toes, them eyeballs, your chin, everything. It's mine. It's mine. And just imagine, man, if every time we did something, man, the Most High took away one function of your limbs. You'll get the message then. The Most High's grace and mercy is abundant, man, but we shouldn't take it for granted. So the Most High is showing ourselves, man, in this sense, yes, it's dealing with touching a dead body, but when you realize that you've been dealing with sin, when you realize that you've been defiling your temple for years and years and years and years, you should be mindful to cleanse yourself, man. Especially when you hear the word of the Most High God. Just like I tell people, if you take a real estate course, you take 5 real estate courses and then never pursue to be a real estate agent, what was the point? You got the information, but you don't choose to apply it. You're going to continue to be whatever it is that you are now. But obviously you did that to what? To elevate yourself. Our people, they look towards the scriptures because they feel like the Most High is a genie or something, man. They think that if they read a couple of scriptures, the Most High is just going to grant them some magical wish or something. It don't work like that. When you start to read these scriptures, man, listen, your sorrows may increase because now you see all that's going around you. At first you was ignorant to it. But guess what? Better know than not to know. Because when you're ignorant, you easily take advantage of, man. Because Satan want to try you also. He want to bring you down into the pit, laugh, and then go and get the next man, or the next woman, or the next child. Let's go back to Numbers. Verse 13 again.
Go ahead. Verse 13.
Uh-huh.
Whosoever touches the dead body of any man that is dead, and purifieth not himself, defileth the tabernacle of Yahweh.
Right.
And that soul should be cut off from Israel.
Can't read.
Because the water of separation was not sprinkled upon him. He should be unclean. His uncleanness is yet upon him.
Read.
This is a law when a man dieth in a tent. All that come into the tent and all that is in the tent shall be unclean 7 days.
Right. When he say that this is law, there's no changing it. This is what it is. Even to this day, if we come in contact with a dead body, we know we are unclean 7 days. Now, we don't have this, water purification, right? And I'm not going to say don't bathe for 2 days and don't do it on the 3rd day, but you know that you're at least unclean for 7 days, right? You'll be more dirty. But if we got new moon, right, on the 3rd day of your uncleanliness, we'll see you next new moon. Don't come and defile the holy convocations, man. All right, that in itself is an offense for you to get cut off, man. Don't come and defile the holy convocations. Better you just stay home. Just stay home, man. Don't offend the body. Just stay home. That's why I encourage, even if you don't know if you did something to make yourself unclean before Shabbat, still hop in the shower, man. All right, before that sun go down, hop in the shower. Just make sure that you clean when Shabbat is coming in, man.
And every open vessel which hath no covering bound upon it is unclean. So when it says that every open vessel, because these things goes travel through the air, these pathogens.
Right, correct.
Travel through the air. That's what I'm saying.
And a lot of times when things decompose, disease starts to spore. Right, they start to become airborne. Now it's in the cup, it's in the bowl. You know what I mean? And woe to somebody who was, probably lusting after one of the brothers' bowl. That's a nice bowl, man. Like that golden bowl. Right, try to take it out of the man's house when he dead. Next thing you know, you go eat out of it, and now you got a tape on it.
That comes unclean. Verse 16. And whosoever touches one that is slain with a sword in the open fields, or a dead body, or a bone of a man, or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days. And for an unclean person, they shall take of the ashes of the burnt heifer a purification for sin. And running water shall be put thereto in a vessel. And a clean person shall take hyssop and dip it in the water. And sprinkle it upon the tent and upon all the vessels, upon the persons that were there, and upon him that touched a bone, or one slain, or one dead, or a grave. And the clean person shall sprinkle upon the clean water, shall sprinkle upon the unclean on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day. And on the 7th day he shall purify himself, and wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and shall be unclean at even. But the man that shall be unclean and shall not purify himself, that soul shall be cut off from among the congregation, because he defiled the sanctuary of Yahweh. The water of separation have not been sprinkled upon him, he is unclean.
He is what?
Unclean.
So you're going to be in a perpetual state of uncleanness because you haven't gone through the purification process, man. Now, how would a man today just stay perpetually in sin? All right? What type of characteristics would a man have to just stay perpetually in sin? Captain Asad. We say it all the time. He would have to be what? An attribute that the Most High hate. He have to be prideful. That's the only way. Give me Proverbs 13:10. You would have to be prideful, man. You would just have to say, to hell with the Most High. I'm not listening to anything he got to tell me, man. Right? I remember, I pray, even if he was joking, he still probably got an answer for that. But I pray Boosie was joking that one time when he was doing, I think it was on Instagram, and he was talking, he was saying, if he was eating some type of pork, whatever, and God came to him and was like, my son, you shouldn't be eating that. He did like this, he turned around and he stuck the middle finger up as if that would have been his response. And of course, in the truth, probably in the world would have been funny, but in the truth, you like, boy, you made the wrong decision now, right? But that's a prideful person. If he truly feel like that, that's a level of pride that you're gonna stay in perpetual sin. Read that.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 10.
Read.
Only by pride.
Only by what?
By pride.
Read.
Cometh contention.
Cometh what?
Contention.
The only way that you're gonna continue to contend this truth, contend these commandments, contend these judgments, as to say that they're not gonna happen, is by pride. Now let's see a man's speech, how that would sound coming out, how this pridefulness will sound coming out of his mouth. Give me Deuteronomy 29, verse 19. Give me Deuteronomy 29, verse 19. Because we do with this spirit a lot, man. And it's so crazy that when we do finally get a person at camp that's willing to hear the word, it's refreshing. So I can imagine how the Most High feel, man. As he say in Proverbs 1, he stretched out his hand and no man regarded. Now, of course, there's some people who regard, because obviously we see what? Brothers and sisters repented. But relative to as how many people should be hearkening, nobody's trying to listen to what the Most High say. Just like if you was throwing a party, 100 people was invited and only 5 showed up, you would say what? Hey, nobody showed up, man. So 5 people was there. Somebody came. But relative to the 100 people who should have been there, 95 people was missing. The way you're going to look at it is nobody showed up. So the Most High say nobody regarded, it's to the amount of Israelites who should be repentant. It's only that small remnant, man. 1/3 of the people. If that. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29, verse 19.
Right? This is how the pride sounds. Read.
And it come to pass, when he heareth the words of this curse,
right,
that he bless himself in his heart.
That he do what?
Bless himself in his heart.
He hear the curses. He hear about the slavery. He hear about the broken families. He hear about the crime, about the stuff. He hear about having to go to your enemy for everything. And he say, you know what? I'm straight. I got my family. I don't work no 9 to 5. I wasn't on them cargo slave ships. Those are just my hands, right? He bless himself. He think everything's gonna go good. But let's see what's gonna happen. Read.
I shall have peace.
He said what?
I shall be straight.
Read.
Though I walk in the imagination of my heart.
Read.
To add drunkenness to thirst.
Listen, the imagination in your heart is equal to the kids who used to imagine Barney, man. Right? Or go to Dragonland. Right? Bring back the old cartoon. That's what a man is doing. Dragon scales, man. His mom, hey, listen, those kids, their parents used to tell them to go do something. They used to run in the room, grab them dragon scales, and slide. They doing that to us. Right? But it was all imagination, man. Right? It was imagination. Our people think they can escape this curse. You think you can run from the Most High? You can't go anywhere. We've seen him take down kings, nations, right? We've seen Goliath get slew with a sling and a stone, right? And you know what's crazy? It's equivalent to how when brothers make them TikToks and they be like, when a 235 bench person come up to me talking about fighting, what they do? They pull out the glizzy, right? So I'm not about to fight you, man. I'm gonna just go ahead and end you right here, right? All that muscle, and that's how the Goliath was dealt with. All that muscle stone to his head, finished, right? Because at the end of the day, man, when the Most High say something about to go down, when he with somebody or against somebody, it's no other way. Right?
Yahweh will not spare him.
He said what?
Yahweh will not spare him.
The Most High said that he's not going to spare you, man. Because you walking in imagination. It's time to give you a reality check, right?
But then the anger of Yahweh and his jealousy shall smoke against that man.
They say going to give him more than what?
Shall smoke against that man.
The Most High said, I'm going to give you the smoke, man. Sometimes we think we come up with these things, but the Most High, he been about that. Right? This is the real OG, man. This is the Ancient of Days. Right? Read.
And all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him.
Right.
And Yahweh shall blot out his name from under heaven.
Right. At the end of the day, man, the end thereof is going to be the Most High going to have to come see about you, man. There's no way for you to get around that. Last one. Let me give Ecclesiastes 5:1. Ecclesiastes 5:1. All right. We bring these things out, man, to show that the Most High, when he gives a commandment, we don't have a choice. It may seem like that because in the Christian church we was taught that you have free will, but that's not the case. Because if that was it, we would just will ourselves to be like the heathens and have a sinful time in America. Or else I said that's not gonna happen, man. I'm gonna continue to allow the policeman to shoot you down in the street. These people are getting evicted out of their houses. They don't care nothing about no contracts no more. That's to show you how good Esau word is. People got contracts and still getting kicked out. Got four more months left of being in that house, and the landlord is like, man, y'all gotta go, right? And of course, there's a law to allow them to do that. Read
the book of Ecclesiastes.
5:1.
Oh, you said Ecclesiastes.
Yeah, Ecclesiastes. Sorry, Salakia. It's all right. 5:1.
Say, come on, yeah, Sirach 5:1. Yeah. The book of Sirach, chapter 5:1.
Remember, we're talking about what would cause a man to just be perpetually sinning, never trying to fix his uncleanliness, never trying to purify himself. So we just going over these scriptures that are the way a prideful man would speak. Read.
The book of Sirach, chapter 5:1.
Read.
Set not thy heart upon thy goods.
Right.
And say not, I have enough for my life.
Right? I'm good. I'm set. I got 500 M's in the bank account. Got the woman of my dreams. Got the car of my dreams. Living in a good house. Got a personal chef making me food I never ate before. Right? I'm on the beach with it with the mimosas. I'm good. I made it. All right. What J. Cole say? Just to get a whole bunch of money just to change your neighbors. All right. That's our dream. That was our dream back in the world. I want enough money so I can go and live with the enemy. That's a crazy thought when you think about it. Read.
Say not, I have enough for my life. Follow not thine own mind.
Right.
And thy strength to walk in the ways of thy heart.
Because that's how it starts. I know it all. I made this. Just like I was telling Captain Sam earlier, I said, imagine you work on a business for 7 years, but you wasn't praying to the Most High. You just thought, I'm going to just get it off the muscle. Then the Most High say coronavirus. And now your business not getting no more money. Now guess who you're talking to? You're talking to the Most High. Yeah, but please help me. Please help keep my business alive. I'm $180,000 in debt. I got all this inventory. I still got to pay rent on the space. Look at Captain ASAP, please. Right? Now they want to pay to the Most High. The Most High will be like, listen, man. I'm going to take 7 years to hear your prayer. Since it took you 7 years to come to me. What if that was the Most High's response? You finished by then. Right? Now you got to call the old girl and the old boy. Got to come back to the crib. Right? After you told them that you made it, you don't need them no more. Right?
I hate you, Mom.
Right? I hate you, Mom. Now you got to go back. All right? Read.
And say not, who should control me?
Right? No, listen,
That's our sisters. They kind of guilty of saying that a lot, man.
Right? Who gonna control me? Who gonna check me? Who gonna
Tell me what to do. You're not my daddy,
right, sisters? Would you agree? A lot of sisters, well, that's a slogan, right? Right? Who gonna check me?
He kind of just posted a video of them teaching the sisters.
Uh-huh.
They were saying the head of the household is the man.
Right.
Said, the head of the household is who?
Yeah, see? Yeah. Right? In Iman, listen, she ready to give you a Chuck Norris spinning kick, man. She not gonna allow you to try to rule over. Who gonna check me? Let's see. Who?
For my works. For Yahweh will surely revenge thy pride.
The Most High said, I come see about you then. Right? I come see about you then. Oh, you don't want to respect your head? You don't respect my son, Yahweh Shai? Don't worry. I sent that death angel around the corner. Right? Don't worry. I got something for you. Didn't Manasseh have to pray to the Most High? I said, listen, don't hold that judgment for me. Right? That thing you had in your back pocket about the release on me, let me slide. Don't reserve that judgment for me, man. A lot of our people think that they're gonna be able to escape in that day, being in their sin perpetually, man. When this place is burning with fervent heat and all you hear is screams, right? Kind of like the opening on Attack on Titan, man. Right. All you hearing is screams, right? That's how it's gonna be, man. Then you're gonna want to pray to the Most High, man. And guess what? All you're gonna see is a whole bunch of chariots up in the sky. We're gonna be looking out the window. Right? Most High gonna be dropping all type of beasts that you never seen, man. And on that day, you're gonna want to repent because it was so easy. All you had to do was say, damn, I'm an Israelite. You know what? Let me get right. Let's go back to Numbers. It's so easy, man. It's so easy when you really think about it. Verse 21.
Verse 21.
And
it should be a perpetual statute unto them, that he that sprinkleth the water of separation shall wash his clothes. And he that toucheth the water of separation shall be unclean until even. And whatsoever the unclean person toucheth shall be unclean. And the soul that toucheth it shall be unclean until even.
Until when?
Until even.
The book of Numbers, chapter 20, verse 1. Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, into the desert of Zin in the first month. And the people abode in Kadesh. And Miriam died there and was buried there. And there was no water for the congregation. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and Aaron.
So even after the Most High gave us the judgment, right? What was the judgment the Most High gave us before this? That we'll spend how long in the wilderness? That we'll spend 40 years in the wilderness. We just got our behinds whooped by the heathens on the hills. We just got cursed out by the Most High. Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, and 250 was put to death. The spies that went to go spy the land, they were given a plague and they died. All these things happened back to back. And our people still going against Aaron and who? Moses. The Most High had a challenge. Everybody bring your staff. And I'm going to show you who's the man in amongst the people right now. The Most High chose Aaron to be the priest. And he showed that he's with Moses. What's going on now? The people still rising up against Aaron and Moses. Let me get Jude 1-17. Jude 1-17. Because of anything the previous chapters teach us, is that who are they really going against? They're going against the Most High because Aaron and Moses is not giving their program. If it was up to Moses, he'll be back with Jethro and his wife and children, be chilling while they're going through it in Egypt. If it was up to Moses and his will. Aaron would probably be vibing somewhere. Probably making some more golden calves somewhere, I don't know, in line vibing. But they're doing the will of the Most High God right now. They're following his instructions. They're telling the Most High's words. Right? So let's read Jude 1:17 real quick.
The book of Jude, chapter 1 and verse 17. But, beloved, remember ye the words which were spoken before the apostles of our Adawan, Hamashiach Yahushua. How that they told you there should come. Verse 16. These are murmurers.
These are what?
Murmurers.
So according to the scriptures and what we see so far in the Torah, does the Most High love or hate murmurers? He hates them. What's some of the events that happen to murmurers? What are some of the things that we've seen happen to people that murmured against the service of the Most High? Ultimately against the Most High. What are some of the things we've seen in the scriptures happen so far?
They get swallowed in the earth.
They get swallowed up in the earth, right? What else did we see? Miriam got leprosy for 7 days, right? Yahushua came down there himself and cursed her out of the tabernacle. What else happened? There was plagues, there was fire, went out through the tent. We got sentenced 40 years. 40 years in the wilderness, walking up and down until that generation died. These are some of the things that happen when we murmur against the Most High. It's just like when you go against somebody that's telling you something for your own good, right? According to the commandments of the Most High God. Are you really murmuring against them? Let's finish reading that real quick.
Oh, you want to start off at 15? I think you can.
Go ahead, start from 15.
Verse 15. To execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them.
Because that's their job, is to convince you to forsake all of that, man.
Right.
When we go out and go teach our people, we're telling them to forsake the wickedness. Come back onto the winning team. Because at the end of the day, we're going to win at the end of the day when it's all said and done. In the end all be all. Righteousness is going to be established on the earth, man.
Right. And to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed.
Because our people commit ungodly sins.
Right.
Our people trespass the Most High throughout the whole time in the wilderness up until now. Even Baruch tells us that since we left Egypt until 2022, we've been disobedient to the Most High God. We've been rejecting His word.
Right. And of all of their hard speeches.
Their hard what?
Their hard speeches.
What were they doing in the wilderness?
Hard speeches.
Hard speeches, read.
Which ungodly sinners have spoken against Him.
So they have to be ungodly what?
Sinners.
To be speaking those hard speeches against the Most High.
Right. These are murmurers.
They're what?
Murmurers.
Read.
Complainers.
What?
Complainers.
Read.
Walking after their own lust. And their mouth speaking great swelling words.
So that's the spirit of the people right now coming against Aaron and Moses. Having that wickedness in them causing them to go against the Most High God.
Right.
Because Aaron and Moses just a voice message. That's all they are to the people.
Right.
They're only telling them the words and instructions of the Most High. Let's go back to where we're at.
The book of Numbers, chapter 20 and verse 3. And the people chose with Moses and spake, saying, would Yahweh that we had died when our brethren died before the Most High?
So they're saying, man, they're fighting with Moses, they're arguing with Moses. Saying, man, y'all niggas brought me out here to die.
Right.
Y'all brought us out here to suffer.
Right.
And you know how Israel get when they get hungry and they're tired and they're in the heat.
Right.
They start acting like PhD Negroes, man. Read.
And why have ye brought up the congregation of the Most High into this wilderness? That we and our cattle should die there.
Should die. But is that the case with the Most High? Why would the Most High take them out of 430 years of hardcore slavery? Our slavery is still in their walls.
Right.
It's still, we're talking against that Egyptian yesterday.
Gone.
You can still see images of our people being persecuted in the walls of Egypt, in their museums. You can still see that to this day. The Most High actually delivered us. He didn't bring us out there to be put to death because He's not a God of folly. Let me get Isaiah 65, 13 real quick. Isaiah 65 and 13. That's not how the Most High works, man. Yeah, it may hurt you, like Captain Taziah once said, to miss out on that overtime on Saturday. Because you need some money. We all need money. It may hurt you not to have that 2 jobs to help you balance out almost $5 of gas. Paying almost $70 of gas in a 1999 Toyota.
No.
It hurts. I know it hurts. Because it hurt me too when I have to see $60 go in that tank. It hurts me.
Read the book of Isaiah, chapter 65, verse 13.
Read.
Therefore, thus saith the Most High Power. Behold, my servants shall eat.
Because when the Most High have servants, He said His servants are going to eat. They're not going to starve. Who's feeding us with the manna? It was the Most High. Who delivered us out of Egypt? The Most High. Who split the Red Sea? The Most High. When the serpents bit our people because of their own wickedness, who healed us? The Most High. Read.
But ye shall be hungry.
But the wicked will be hungry. Most High going to feed His servants, but the wicked are going to be hungry.
Read. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty.
Read.
Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed.
Notice the benefits are going to go to the servants of the Most High. A servant does what? To the master. It obeys the master.
If we're not obeying the Most High, is He really our master? Are we really His servants? That's the thing with our people always forget. The Most High is not leading us astray. Right. Just like that good shepherd, He's bringing us to that water. He's bringing us to that pleasant pasture. We just have to have that faith and trust in the Most High power. Because look at what He did with our ancestors. Look what He did with David. David was with the sheep. He raised him up to be the king over Israel. Moses was your average Joe after he fled Egypt. Right? He was just an average Joe. What did the Most High do? He made him the first deliverer of Israel. The Most High has the ability to do that. We just can't, we tend to forget. Let's get Sirach 2 and 10. Sirach 2 and 10 in the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus. Our people always keep forgetting we serve the only living power. The only power you can cry out to. The Egyptians, they're crying out to Ra and Osiris. Right. That's in the fairy tale book.
Right. The most they get is you put the TV shows.
Right. That's the only thing they get. Because if their God's real, Dragon Tales is real.
Right.
Elmo is real. SpongeBob is under the sea somewhere.
Right.
If their God is real.
Real. The book of Sirach.
Go ahead.
The book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 10. Look at the generations of old.
Let me tell us, look back in your history. Look at what the Most High did in the past.
Read. And see, did ever any trust in the Lord?
If anybody what?
Did ever any trust in the Lord?
Are people fighting against Moses and Aaron right now because they believe they're going to die? Are they showing the Most High they trust Him? Nah, they're showing distrust in the Most High. Read.
And was confounded.
And was what?
And was confounded.
The Most High make you look crazy? Now He make you look like as if you don't have a God? No, that's not the power that we serve. He's the same power that delivered David. He's the same power that saved Elijah when he was on the run. He's the same power that gave Samson his strength. He's the same power that gave us Yahushua.
Read. Or did any abide in His fear and was forsaken?
Now, what is the fear of the Most High? What's the fear of the Most High? When you hear a thunderstorm and say you hiding under a rock because you want to get hit with lightning, is that the fear of the Most High? What's the fear of the Most High? That's pretty answers. What do we thought? We got a lot of scholars in the room. What's the fear of the Most High? Sirach 2 and 15? I guess Sirach 2 and 15. I feel like a Captain Hutch scripture.
The book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 15.
You got a scripture? I found it. Not joking. Read.
Go ahead. They that fear the Most High
should what?
Would not disobey His word.
So everybody who obeyed the word of the Most High, they never was confounded. You was gonna say something, sis.
Sirach 1 and 14.
All right, finish that and get Sirach 1 and 14.
Come on. They that fear the Most High will not disobey His word.
Not disobey His word, right?
And they that love Him will keep His ways.
And you'll keep His ways, keep His word. Let's get that Sirach 1 and 14. You're going to get my favorite scripture.
Come on. Sirach chapter 1, verse 14. To fear the Lord.
To what?
To fear the Lord.
Fear Yahweh
is the beginning of wisdom.
When you fear the Most High is the beginning of wisdom, you're going to be able to trust in the Most High. You're going to know what to do when you're hungry. You're going to know what to do with that gas at $10 at the end of the year, man.
Right.
You're going to know what to do. You're going to get a bike.
Right.
Read.
And it was created with the faithful in the womb.
That's right. Let's get Deuteronomy 6 and 2 real quick.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 2. That thou mayest fear the Most High thy power.
Everybody say, come on, Deuteronomy 6 and 2. We know, make sure we're going at the right place for everybody. Deuteronomy 6 and 2. Because at the end of the day, this is the end all be all, man. The fear is to obey.
Right.
Because you don't want to be thrown in the lake of fire off the chariot, you fear the Most High. You don't keep those commandments. Because you don't want a lion to meet you in the public aisle on a Sabbath day when you about to go purchase something.
Hey, that'd be crazy.
And the crazy, you're the only one that see the lion too. Most High can do that. Make sure everybody don't see it, but only you see it. Because you fear that could happen, you don't go by on the Sabbath day in public. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 2. That thou mightest fear the Most High thy power to keep all His statutes, and his commands, and his commandments.
And his commandments. No, Most High have never turned his back against anybody who ever kept the commandments. Right. Never, man. Let's go back to Sirach. Finish that.
The book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 11. For the Most High is full of compassion.
He's full of what?
Compassion.
He's full of compassion. He knows they're hungry in the wilderness.
Right.
The Most High knows, just like he knows that the birds of the air, they need food. The things on the ground, they need water. The Most High is sure. Do you ever see a bird stress himself to go find food? Yeah. Have you ever seen a raccoon arguing with his wife because he can't get that gas money? Right. You've never seen that before, man. You never seen that before. Let's get Matthew 6 and 25. You never see the beast crying, stressing, don't need Advil because they don't have the things that's necessary for them. Because if the Most High could do it for these animals, he could do it for us too because we're greater than them. He created us more perfection in his image than them. The grass don't start crying and complaining when there's no rain. We haven't heard a cry yet. Not one blade of grass yet. Right. Like in Harry Potter. The little things that you pull out the pot, they start crying. The trees don't cry when there's no rain because they know the Most High will bring rain in due season. So why do we cry? And we were made after the image of the Most High. Why do we cry? And we were the only nation that was given the covenant of the Most High. Let's read that real quick.
The book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 25. Read. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life.
The Most High said, don't worry about it.
Read. What ye shall eat.
What ye shall what?
What ye shall eat.
Read.
Or what ye shall drink.
Or your substance. Don't worry about the substance, man. Who gives it? Who takes it? Yahweh. Read.
Nor yet for your body. What ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat? Read. And the body than raiment?
Read.
Behold, the fowls of the air.
The what?
The fowls of the air.
The fowls of the air, the birds of the sky. Read.
For they sow not, neither do they reap.
They don't have a refrigerator anywhere. You don't see a woodpecker with a mini fridge in a tree. You don't see that anywhere. Read.
Nor gather into barns.
They don't save in their bank accounts or the savings accounts. Read.
Yet your heavenly Father feedeth them.
But the Most High gives them with the things that they need, necessary for their substance. Read.
And ye are not much better than they.
And Yahweh shall say, aren't you better than them?
Right.
So if I could do that for them, and they don't pay no rent, no mortgage, none of that, what you think I could do for you?
All right.
If you put your trust in me. And our people's lacking that trust. Let's get one more scripture before we go back. Psalms 37, verse 25. Psalms 37, verse 25. This shows us, man. A lot of times we read the scriptures, they're using old language, man. A lot of times we say that we're not gonna do this in the wilderness. Are we sure? When you start saying it's hard, Doc, that's murmuring in the eyes of most. I don't want to hear that. Most I don't want to hear it's hot. You don't want to hear you say you missed a jerk chicken, the chicken tasso. You don't want to hear that. I used to handle that some K-bar. Like, you don't want to hear none of that. Most I don't want to hear none of that. That's murmuring.
Read the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 25. I have been young, and now I'm old.
So David said he's been young. He's been a young man. Now he's an elder, read.
Yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken.
He said he's never seen the righteous get their turned on by the Most High, read.
Nor his seed.
Nor his what?
Nor his seed.
His children, read.
Begging bread.
Begging for what?
Begging bread.
Most High David said he's never seen that before. So that thought should be strange for us when we go through certain things, man. When we're put in a certain situation and our backs against the wall, we gotta remember what power we serve. This is why we go over these scriptures to help us remember, so we can be reintroduced to our power. Let's go back to where we at in the portion. So our people is lacking faith right now. Let's continue. And they're arguing with Moses and Aaron.
The book of Numbers, chapter 20, verse 5. And wherefore have ye made us to come up out of Egypt, to bring us into this evil place?
Into this evil what?
To this evil place.
But reality, where are they supposed to go? To the land of milk and honey. When Moses told them, just go up there and go whoop them heathens behind from the east to the west coast. What did they say? We're going to send spies.
Right.
What did they see? They just seen Africans with fur skirts, right? Bones in their necks, plates on their lips. That's what they see. They kind of easily slap the hell out of them and take the land.
Right.
What happened? They said they're grasshoppers.
Right.
We don't want the smoke. Them boys big. That's what they're telling the Most High.
Right.
Most High told them just go in there and go handle it. Caleb said we're going to eat them up like bread.
Right.
They didn't want that.
Read. It is no place of seed, or of figs, or of vines, or of pomegranates.
But didn't they get the grapes and the pomegranates to see if that was the case or not?
Right.
Read.
Neither is there any water to drink. And Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And they fell upon their faces. And the glory of the Most High appeared unto them. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, take the rod and gather thou the assembly together.
No, read it again.
Take the rod and gather thou the assembly together.
Take the staff and call the people to come together. Read.
Thou and Aaron thy brother.
Step 3. Get the rod, get the staff, call the people, get Aaron. Read.
And speak.
Step 4. What did he say?
And speak.
And what?
And speak.
Speak. Read.
Ye unto the rock.
Onto the what?
Unto the rock.
Now let's go back again to make sure everybody follow. What's step 1? Step 2. Step 3. No. See, we really went into captivity. What's step 2? Get the rod. Step 2. Assemble the people. Step 3. Step 4. And speak. 4-step plan right here. Very simple. It's like me telling a brother, get the shofar, go to that bench, put it down, call us, and let us know when you do it. Simple. Read.
And speak ye unto the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water.
All you had to do was tell the rock, give me water. Probably my young in the Hebrew. Water. Read.
And thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock.
And water shall come out of this rock. Read.
So thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink. And Moses took the rod from before the Most High, as he commanded. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation before the rock.
And they follow step 3. Up to step 3, read.
And he said unto them, hear now, ye rebels.
What did he say?
Hear now, ye rebels.
I'll say in modern day English, because I like to do it. Hear now, y'all wicked niggas. Y'all evil Negroes.
Right.
Listen. Hear me, I say. Read.
Must we fetch you water out of this rock?
What did he say?
Must we fetch you water out of this rock?
Read.
And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice.
And he hit the rock. Anybody ever see the mad Haitian man?
Right.
My foot. That's what Moses did to that rock. Read.
And the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. The Most High spake unto Moses and Aaron.
Now everything is done. They got the water regardless. What did Yahweh say to Moses?
And the Most High spake unto Moses and Aaron, because ye believed me not.
What did he say?
Ye believed me not.
He said, because you didn't trust in me. Because you got your feelings. So Moses got his feelings. That's why he did that.
Right.
Read.
To sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel.
Give respect in front of the people. Read.
Therefore, ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. This is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with Yahweh, and he was sanctified in them.
So let's see why this happened. Why the Most High was displeased. Let's get 1 Corinthians 14 and 40. Let's get 1 Corinthians 14 and 40. The one thing that the Torah teaches, what does Torah mean? Torah. What does that mean? It means law. It means instruction. What are we supposed to be getting from the Torah? Law and instruction. It teaches us how to follow laws and instruction. The one thing we always have to remember about the Most High is all about instruction, following his instruction. That's all he's about, man. If he gives you a commandment to keep in the Torah and the law, the first 5 books of Moses, he expects it to be followed down to the T. Now, who do you expect? Let's get 1 Corinthians 14 and 40.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 14, verse 40. Let all things,
What did he say?
let all things be done decently and in order.
Decently and in order. The Most High expects things to go according to his laws, man. He gave Moses specific instructions, 4-step instruction. Moses did extra. He hit the rock twice, like he was boxing or fighting off a wild dog or something. And then he cursed out the people and gave them the water. The Most High didn't tell him to do that. He said, get the rod, call Aaron, get the people, and speak unto the rod. 4 steps. Moses didn't follow the plan. He didn't follow the instruction. Now he's in the wrong side of the Most High. Right. Let's get 2 Ezra 7:20-23. In the Apocrypha. But when the Most High gives instruction, it's a straight commandment. It's a straight commandment. It's not something you need rocket science to decode. It's not something you need for philosophers to give you the sense to. It's something that's plain and simple. Something simple as don't eat pork. You don't need a Ouija board to tell you how to break that down. Right. It's very simple. Don't eat it. Don't murder anybody. You don't need somebody with a PhD to break that down. It's simple. Don't murder anybody. Go ahead and read that.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 7 and verse 20. For there be many that perish in this life because they despise the law.
Because they what?
Because they despise the law.
Because Moses was given a commandment. He was given a law by the Most High. He was given instruction by the Most High. 4-step instruction. And he didn't believe, right? He lacked faith. He let his emotion get to the best of him. Just like a lot of times we let our emotions get the best of us. Man, when it comes to the laws of the Most High. Read.
Because they despise the law of God that is set before them. For Yahweh hath given straight commandments. Hath given straight commandments.
Simple instructions. Something that cannot be misinterpreted. Read.
To such as came. What they should do to live.
And what they should do to be on his right side. Read.
Even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment.
To do what?
To observe and what they should observe to avoid punishment.
So our people got the instruction in the wilderness on what to do to avoid punishment. Moses got the instruction to what to do to give the Most High sanctification before the people. He received that instruction. What did he do? He neglected that instruction because of his emotions. Let's get Proverbs 14 and 12. Let's go to Proverbs 14 and 12. That's just a lot of times with us, man. Sometimes we get mad. I remember Captain Zion said this a couple years ago. Your feelings does not give you a license to break the commandments of the Most High. The commandments are found in the Torah. The commandments is the words of Yahweh. Nothing more, nothing less. If it's not there, that's not a law given by the Most High. That's just instruction. When you get mad, that doesn't give you a license to go punch somebody in their face unjustly. Just because you're sad and you feel like you're heartbroken, that doesn't mean you go burn somebody's house down because you're heartbroken.
Read the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 12. There is a way.
Stop it. Everybody say come when you're Proverbs 14 and 12.
Proverbs chapter 14, verse 12. There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof,
sometimes something in your mind might come up. And in your mind, it sounds good. It might seem good. It might feel good. Right? Read.
But the end thereof,
should be what?
Are ways of death.
It's going to be contrary to the law of the Most High God. It's going to cause you to be put to death. For the wages of sin is what? It's death. It's not a stimulus check. You're going to be put to death by some way by the hands of the Most High. Right. Let me get 1 Samuel 15. Let's get a perfect example of this. A perfect example of what happens when you disobey the Most High and how he feels about this. Let's get 1 Samuel 15 and 1. We mentioned him earlier, but let's go on to this account. There's no, I can go in? Okay. Go ahead.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 1. Samuel also said unto Saul, the Most High sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now, therefore, hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Most High. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek
What did he say?
Now go and smite Amalek.
So the Most High told him, listen, I remember I put you as king. Messed up a couple times. Now you're trying to redeem yourself. Go and destroy the Amalekites, the fake Jews. Read.
Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have.
What did he say?
Go, Salakia, and utterly destroy all that they have and spare them not.
So he said, kill everything. Sure. I forgot. There's a word for it, man. I think it's like total words or something like that. Something Hussein, President Grant did in America. I forgot the word for it. But he completely annihilate everything in the land, but under the Amalekites. Read.
Verse 3. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and donkey. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. And Saul came into a sea of Amalek and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said unto the Kenites, Go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them.
So far, Saul seems like he got the right intention. He's in the spirit. He's ready to do it. Read.
When they came, Salakia, lest I destroy you with them, for ye showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. And Saul smote the Amalekites.
He did what?
He smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou came unto Shur.
So he's doing a good job so far, Okay, read.
That is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites.
He did what?
He took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive.
What?
Alive.
That was the instruction he was given.
Right.
Read.
And utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep and of the oxen and of the fatlings and the lambs and all that was good.
So Saul got a one-step instruction.
Right.
Kill everything.
Right.
Moses got a four-step instruction. And we see so far both of these brothers not following the instructions.
Read. Of the fatlings and of the lambs and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refused that they destroy utterly. Then came the word of the Most High unto Samuel, saying, It repented me that I have set up Saul to be king.
So this is how the Most High felt about it. He said, man, I feel so bad I gave y'all this Negro as a king, man. I feel so bad. I made a mistake with that. You're right. I think the last time he said this, it was in Genesis 6, when people multiplied the earth. So the Most High didn't say that since Genesis 6. That's how you know this man was in the evil spirit. Read.
It repented me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he is turned back from following me, and have not performed my commandments, and it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Most High all night.
Because at the end of the day, Samuel still loved Saul, man. That's his brother. He was off. Samuel was the one that kept him in place, but that was still his brother, man. But Saul wasn't following the instruction of the Most High at the end of the day. Just like we need to follow the instruction of the Most High God, man. We need to follow those commandments. Jot down to verse 20.
Verse 20. And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Most High.
So Saul, in his mind, he feels like he's doing the right thing. He did the right thing. Even though the Most High said it in English or in Patois or whatever Patois Saul was speaking in that time, he understood what the Most High told him he had to do.
Read. And have gone the way which the Most High sent me, and have brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took of the spoil, sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Most High thy power in Gilgal. And Samuel said, Hath the Most High as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices?
So Saul's trying to game up Samuel. He's telling him there was good intentions behind it. Just like Moses, he probably had a good intention. Well, he wanted to curse out the people. But Saul's intentions was good in his mind. He wanted to give the sacrifices to the Most High. That's what he said he wanted to do with it, allegedly. But at the end of the day, was he right or was he wrong? It was wrong because that wasn't what the Most High told him he had to do. Read.
And Samuel said, hath the Most High as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices?
The Most High liked all the intentions, the gifts, the rewards. Read.
As in obey.
As in what?
As in obey.
Read.
The voice of the Most High?
Does he rather you give him all these little gifts and trinkets, or you obeying the commandments and his instruction? Read.
Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice.
It's better. That's what he told Saul. It's to obey that and following that instruction, following those rules that he gave him. Read.
And to hearken than the fat of rams.
Read.
For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. And stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry.
So what is the punishment for witchcraft? That's the comparison the Most High is telling Samuel to give to him. Let's get Leviticus 20 and 27. Let's go back to the portion. Leviticus 20 and 27. This shows you how wicked that spirit of rebellion is, man. When we rebel against the Most High, when you rebel against your parents, man, when you rebel against your head, man, Most High not dealing with that spirit. It has you doing witchcraft. Leviticus 20 and 27.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 27. A man also, or a woman, that hath a familiar spirit,
witchcraft, read,
or that is a wizard, shall surely be put to death.
Scripture says you should surely be put to death. So that's how the Most High looks at it when you rebel against him. That's how the Most High, we're about to see what the Most High is about to do soon. Let's go right back to the portion.
The book of Numbers, chapter 20 and verse 12. And the Most High spake unto Moses, that's like it, verse 13, verse 14. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus saith thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the travail that hath befallen us, how our fathers went down into Egypt, and we have dwelt in Egypt a long time. And the Egyptians vexed us and our fathers.
So he's giving the nation of Edom, because Edom is a well-established as a nation already. Giving them the rundown, we're about to come through. This is what's been going on with us. So Edom can have some type of mercy or compassion towards Israel. Passage, read.
Verse 16. And when we cried unto Yahweh, he heard our voice and sent an angel, and hath brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the utmost of thy border. Let us pass.
What did he say?
Let us pass, I pray thee, through thy country. We will not pass through the fields or through the vineyards, neither will we drink of the wells. We will go by the king's highway, we will go by the king's highway. We will not turn to the right hand nor the left, until we have passed thy borders. And Edom said unto him, thou shalt not pass by me.
What did he say?
Thou shalt not pass by me.
We said we're not going to eat nothing, we're not going to drink nothing, we're not going to get into your affairs. Just let's go on the turnpike and go right past you.
Right.
Nothing more, nothing less. And we see that, what did Esau do? They return us with what? No mercy, no compassion,
right.
No love.
Right.
Read.
Lest I come out against thee with the sword.
With a sword. And that sword is still on now.
Right.
No matter how much we try to show love, respect, what do they do? They return our love with hatred.
Right.
With no compassion. You mean Ezekiel 35 and 5? We'll quit, we'll come right back. Ezekiel 35 and 5. And that's the spirit of this nation. This is why the Most High is going. Why do you think the Most High is going to judge them without mercy? Because they don't know mercy.
Right.
They don't know compassion.
Right.
They don't know what they don't know how to feel for anybody else.
That's right.
So the Most High is not going to feel for them.
Right.
That's why we shouldn't show no compassion. You know, even though it's in our spirit, we shouldn't show no compassion because they don't know compassion.
Read the book of Ezekiel, chapter 35, verse 5. Because thou hast a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel.
Because the Most High said they had a perpetual hatred. That word is awlam in the Hebrew. That means forever, something that will never end. They have that hatred unto us unto this day. Read.
By the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, save the Most High Power, I will prepare thee unto blood.
The same way they had this hatred towards us, the same way they showed us no compassion, the Most High said He's going to prepare them for blood. He's going to prepare them for judgment. He's going to kindle His wrath upon them. Read.
Therefore, as I live, save the Most High Power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee.
And blood does not pursue them because of that perpetual hatred.
And blood shall pursue thee. Okay, come.
Numbers chapter 20, verse 19.
The book of Numbers, chapter 20, and verse 19. And the children of Israel said unto him, we will go by the highway, and if I and my cattle drink of thy water, then I will pay for it. I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet.
And we even said, we try to reassure them after they gave us the strength. If we break anything, if we eat anything, we're going to pay for it. You don't have to give nothing to us for free. Read.
And he said, thou shalt not go through. And Edom came out against him with much people and with a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border, wherefore Israel turned away from him.
So they came out with their military might against us. Let's go. Let's continue.
And the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, journeyed from Kadesh and came unto Mount Hor. And the Most High spake unto Moses and Aaron in Mount Hor by the coast of the land of Edom, saying, Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, for he shall not enter into the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because ye rebelled against my word at the water of Meribah.
So what does it mean when you're gathered unto your people? What does that mean? You're going to die. So Aaron is about to die right now. The Most High already letting them know. So this shows us who declares it when you live and you die. The Most High. Who knows when you're going to die? The Most High, because He's the one that's going to send that angel to come get you. Right? So let's revisit what Aaron did. What did Aaron do so far? Because this is not his first offense. This is not his first offense. He's a Levite. I'm going to defend my Levites, but I can't defend them. What's his first offense? Let's get Exodus 32:1 real quick. Where they go into his offenses real quick. Exodus 32:1. Everybody say come when you're Exodus 32:1.
The book of Exodus, chapter 32 and verse 1.
Everybody there? All right, let's go.
And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him,
What did they say unto Aaron, the high priest?
Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we want not what is become of him. And Aaron said unto them, break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graven tool. After he made it a molten calf.
A molten what?
A molten calf.
So Aaron committed idolatry. And he led the people to commit mass idolatry against who? The Most High. This is offense number 1. Let's get offense number 2. Numbers 12, verse 1. Let's get offense number 2. And Most High gave him mercy, too. Most High gave him mercy. This is probably Aaron's last redeeming opportunity. And he blew it. Because when Moses said that, what Aaron should I have done? He should have cursed him out and rebuked him. The same way Moses cursed out the people, he should have cursed out Moses. Right. Because Aaron knew better. Aaron was supposed to administer the law to the people. He knew better. Let's get Numbers 12, verse 1.
The book of Numbers, chapter 12, and verse 1.
Read.
And Miriam and Aaron,
and who?
And Aaron,
and Aaron the high priest, read,
spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, have the Most High indeed spoken only by Moses? Have he not spoken also by us?
This is offense number 2. Speaking against the Most High. Believe it or not, this is against a commandment. This is Exodus 22:28. Thou shalt not revile thy gods or curse the rulers of thy people. So this is the second offense that he did. Now this one that he just finished is the third. 3 strikes and you're out. You know, when it comes to the Most High, he shows us mercy and compassion according to his measure. What he might forgive me for, he may not forgive this brother for. What he forgive y'all for, he may not forgive none of us for. The Most High love and show compassion according to how much you want to give it out to each and every individual. Let's go right back to where it was at in the portion. So he says Aaron's about to be gathered to his people, right?
The book of Numbers, chapter 20, and verse 24. Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, for he shall not enter into the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because ye rebelled against my word at the water of Meribah. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son, his son, and bring them up unto the Mount Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments.
What did you say?
Strip Aaron of his garments.
Anybody ever watch the movie ATL? Anybody seen that? When T.I. found out Luna was lying to him, he snatched the thing from her. That's what's about to happen to Aaron on the mount. About to snatch the mitre off, snatch the ephod. Read.
And put them upon Eleazar his son. And Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, and shall die there.
So Aaron is gonna die, and who's gonna take up that charge? Eleazar, his son, the oldest son. Read.
And Moses did as the Most High commanded. And they went up into Mount Hor in the sight of all the congregation. And Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them on Eleazar his son.
So you know how embarrassing that could be. You don't know if Aaron was in his drawers or what. We know he had linen breeches under there, but it had to be done in front of everybody. Just like when the Most High gave him the instruction, the Most High was supposed to be sanctified in front of everybody, So Aaron was going to receive this shame before everybody. Read.
And Aaron died there in the top of the mount. And Moses and Eleazar came down from the mount. And when all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead, they mourned for Aaron 30 days, even all the house of Israel. 21. And when the king Arad, the Canaanite, which dwelt in the south, heard tell that Israel came by the way of the spies, then he fought against Israel and took some of them prisoners.
So he fought against us and took some prisoners of war, right?
And Israel vowed a vow unto the Most High.
We did what?
Vowed a vow unto the Most High.
What do we remember about vows? We're not going to get the reference because of time. What do we remember about vows? Making vows to the Most High. You have to keep it, no matter what. Read.
And said, if thou wilt indeed deliver this people into my hand, then I will utterly destroy their cities. And the Most High hearkened to the voice of Israel and delivered up the Canaanites. And they utterly destroyed them and their cities. And he called the name of the place Hormah. And they journeyed from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to compass the land of Edom. And the soul of the people was much discouraged because of the way. And the people spake against the Most High and against Moses, wherefore have ye brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness?
So again, the Most High just gave him water and what happened? Again. Read.
For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and our soul loathe this light bread. And the Most High sent fiery serpents.
You said what?
Fiery serpents.
Said who?
Fiery serpents
Read.
among the people, And they bit the people.
And bit the what?
And they bit the people.
So we're going to get the significance of this fiery serpent and the meaning of it, of the people being bit. Now, if a serpent bites you, what happens to you? You got poison. And what happens after you get the venom? You die, right? Yeah. Pay attention to that. Read.
And much people of Israel died. Therefore, the people came to Moses and said, we have sinned.
We have what?
We have sinned.
We have sinned. Read.
For we have spoken against the Most High and against thee.
Read.
Pray unto the Most High that he take away the serpents from us. And Moses prayed for the people. And the Most High said unto Moses, make thee a fiery serpent and set it upon a pole. And it shall come to pass.
It shall come to what?
Come to pass.
It shall come to who?
Come to pass.
Read.
That everyone that is bitten, when he looketh upon it, shall live.
So there was a problem that there's death amongst the people, right? Stop. I don't know if you want to. So there's death amongst the people, right?
Yeah.
And you might want to leave him alone. Oh, never mind. Okay. Shibu Inu. I guess we can leave him alone then until he decided to declare it. I hope nobody didn't send him. Most I didn't send him. Now, the problem is that our people's poison and there's death amongst our people. So the Most High say, make this brazen serpent, and whoever look up at this serpent, read,
shall live.
Shall what?
Shall live.
Shall who?
Shall live.
Let's get John 3:14. Let's get John 3:14.
The book of John, chapter 3, verse 14. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness,
just like what?
And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness,
read.
Even so must the Son of Man be lifted up.
The same way the Son of Man have to be lifted up. And the people be healed. Let's go right back so we can finish that story.
And Moses made a serpent of brass and put it upon a pole, and it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld a serpent of brass, he lived. And the children of Israel set forward and pitched in Oboth. And they journeyed from Oboth and pitched at Abrium in the wilderness, which is before Moab, toward the sun rising. From thence they removed and pitched in the valley of Zered. From thence they removed and pitched on the other side of Arnon, which is in the wilderness that cometh out of the coast of the Amorites. For Arnon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. Wherefore it is said in the book of the wars of the Most High, what he did in the Red Sea, and in the brooks of Arnon, and at the stream of the brooks that goeth down to the dwelling of Ar, and lieth upon the border of Moab. And from thence they went to Beer. That is the well whereof of the Most High spake unto Moses, gather the people together, and I will give them water. Then Israel sang this song, spring up, O well, sing ye unto it. The princes digged the well, the nobles of the people digged it, by the direction of the lawgiver with their staves, and from the wilderness they went to Mattanah, and from Mattanah to Nathaniel, and from Nathaniel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth in the valley that is in the country of Moab to the top of Pisgah, which looketh toward Sheshemon. And Israel sent messengers unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, let me pass through thy land. We will not turn into the fields or into the vineyards. We will not drink of the waters of the well, but we will go along by the king's highway until we pass by thy borders. And Sihon would not suffer Israel to pass through his border. But Sihon gathered all his people together.
So Sihon gathered all the people together instead of letting us pass through, read.
And went out against Israel.
And went out against who?
Israel.
So they went out to go to war against our people, read.
Into the wilderness.
And
he came to Jahaz and fought against Israel.
And fought against who?
Israel.
Read.
And Israel smote him.
And we did what?
Smote him.
And this is the first time. Remember, this is the second year in the wilderness. This is why I tell brothers, you know, those of you who hopefully if the Levites got to be at tabernacle, some of y'all got to start doing push-ups. Because in year one, we get an instruction. Year two, guess what's going to happen? Read that again.
And Israel smote him.
We're going to have to fight. Right now, we told Esau, we're going to put you in captivity. Can you really put a 90-pound Edomite in chains? You gotta be real with yourself. You got to start hitting the youth fit and be ready to put them in chains physically.
Read. With the edge of the sword, and possessed his land from Arnon unto Jabbok, even unto the children of Ammon. For the border of the children of Ammon was strong, and Israel took all these cities. And Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites, in Heshbon, and in all the villages thereof. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and taken all his land out of his hand, even unto Arnon. Therefore, they that speak in Proverbs say, Come into Heshbon, let the city of Sihon be built and prepared. For there is a fire gone out of Heshbon, a flame from the city of Sihon. It hath consumed Ar of Moab, and the lords of the high places of Arnon. Woe to thee, Moab! Thou art undone, O people of Chemosh. He hath given his sons that escaped and his daughters into captivity unto Sihon, king of the Amorites. We have shot at them. Heshbon is perished even unto Darbon, and we have laid them waste even unto Nophah, which reacheth unto me Debah. Thus Israel dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and Moses sent to spy out Jazer. And they took the villages thereof, and drove out the Amorites that were there. And they turned and went up by the way of Bashan. And Og, the king of Bashan, went out against them.
This is the second battle after the first one.
Read. He